Hey y'all, Exile here. Covering Etheria Restart again today. So what we're going to be covering is actually called Threshold. This is the way that you get your gear for your Animus. The most important one, in my opinion, is Doki Doki because this is where you're going to be getting all your speed gear from. And later on in the game, this is going to be where you're going to get your Bramble gear from, which allows you to do counters and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Now, as you can see, I've got it at Nightmare 1. The challenge would be Nightmare 2 if I started it right here. And I can show you that a little bit later so that you see what it actually looks like. Plus, I kind of want to test out my Kraken and see how he does. But aside from that, your main goal on this is to take out the two teams of mobs that Doki spawns. Um, while she spawns them and doesn't attack you directly, she does buff them, makes them quite powerful, and at the higher levels, they can deal quite a bit of damage. So, with this, you're going to be wanting to use any kind of characters that have control effects, which is why Kraken becomes a really good choice here because he has an AoE control effect. Um, that's going to reduce the damage that they do to you. It's great. Anyways, besides that, let's go ahead and take a look at how this challenge runs. So, once this challenge starts up, you're going to have your choice of characters. Now, the cool thing here is that it's actually a 5 character setup. Um, as usual, I'm going to be going with Messiah. I think I'll keep Rosa in on this one. I think the person that I'm going to get rid of is actually going to be Freya. I'm going to switch Freya out with Kraken just to see how he hangs with this. Now, I have it set up to do it as auto. That just makes things a lot easier for me. Um, as you can see, Lily kicked off that speed attack, and that just bumps up everybody's speed. Now, here's the thing about auto is like kind of just sitting here waiting for things to complete. But you can kind of see uh, how the AI in the game is choosing the moves that it uses. What I really like is Lily's first move that she did wasn't her AoE that puts on Twin Trick onto Messiah. It's actually her buff that she does first to boost everybody's speed. So the AI in this game is actually kind of intelligent when you set it to auto on how it decides to use its moves. Yeah, these guys still hit a lot harder than Nightmare 1. And you can see the ones that have been buffed because they start glowing in that like purplish color. And that's just great. They killed my healer. So this is probably going to be a loss from what I'm seeing. Yeah, there's no winning this one. They're a little bit too tough for me still. And that's just kind of the way it goes. Like, I'm happy that I just got to Nightmare to begin with, um, but it does look like some more time is going to be needed to kind of hash out my team, kind of choose things a little bit better. Right there, you can see how invincibility works. It really does keep Messiah alive for quite a while. But as soon as that invincibility drops, I just totally get wiped out. And you know, like that right there is just kind of the way that it goes. Um, and that right there is that's Doki Doki's threshold. It's not it's not too tough at the lower levels, but when you start getting into Nightmare, those things take so long to kill and do so much damage. So, like, I might either need to increase my team's damage. Uh, I mean, maybe it just comes down to a gearing issue. I don't have them geared out enough for it, but there's not enough time in the beta for me to like sit down and figure that out. Um, I might need more control effects. Like, who knows? I'm not even going to. I'm not even going to spend too much time getting into that because, like I said, I've got like a couple more hours before this event is over, and then it's going to be a 2 week wait until we go live. And when we go live, I get to start all over again. So, like, we'll kind of just see how things go at that time. Plus, at that time, I'm going to have Tiamat, and that'll give me a solid tank. With a solid tank unit that has taunt, like, I can see this going a little bit better. But anyways, that right there is Threshold. Um, there's not much more to say about it. Like there is three different modes. So like you've got this mode right here, which this one isn't bad. Like it gives you some decent gear. You got your typical assault gear here, which is just straight up attack. As you can see, I haven't really gotten too far into it because I would rather focus on the speed gear. With all the speed comps in PvP, like it's kind of necessary to go with speed gear. There's also this third one here that opens up at like level 30, and like it's not bad, but it's also not like kind of what I'm looking for. So like you got Strive, which buffs your defense, and like you know after you get to Strive 8, you're gonna have anytime you're being attacked, your turn meter increases, which I think that could be useful for like more of your tanky units, but like I wouldn't throw that on a Tiamat. I would be throwing Bramble on a Tiamat. Um, but this looks more like your defense-based threshold. Once again, I only got it up to hard 2. I didn't even try and cross over into Nightmare. So the one I've mainly been focusing on, and that I would advise any day one people to focus on, is like try going with Doki Doki, because this is the gear that you're looking for right here. It's just Swift Rush. As you can see, if you get 12, you're sitting at 35% speed. That's a huge bonus. Um, the Bramble gear is defense gear, and that upon hit, your animus have a 25% chance to counterattack with a basic attack. That is actually pretty huge, but the really cool thing about that is I also think that's something that you could set up Rosa to kind of proc off of as well, which like as you know I'm running a Rosa, so like that I've been theory crafting around that, but there's not enough time to test it out, unfortunately. um Another really cool one that this has is an attack based one, um that has you ignore defense. So for any characters like say Messiah, who ignores 70% defense on some of his attacks, like this 30 just takes that to 100%. That's absolutely insane. um so like this might actually be a good set for Messiah, and it's one of these sets where it only has 8, so like that might be the perfect opportunity to kind of mix it with another one. So in the case of Messiah, you could probably mix this with a little bit of Swift Rush so that you get a decent speed bonus too. And if you can actually manage to get to +8 Swift Rush, that's 20% there. And then +8 here, like you're looking at a 10% attack boost, which is going to be good for him because he actually deals decent attack damage. But this additional ignore 30% of their defense, like that's nice. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually really nice, especially for your opening attack. Because once again, if you come over here and you look at, uh, if you look at Messiah, especially if you've maxed out his AOE to level 5, like increases the effect of defense ignore to 70%. If this stacks with that 30%, holy crap. You're talking about 100% defense ignore for like his opening shot, which if you mix that with that harvest set, like they're clearly over 50% because they're at 100% for their opening, like for that opening turn, they're going to be over 50% of their health. And so it's just, once again, just theory crafting. I think it's really cool, but that's another reason why ultimately, like, I would advise starting with the Doki Doki Threshold because, man, you're going to get a lot out of it. Anyways, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching. This is all I'm covering on this one. The next couple, I'll be diving into some of the other modes. Might even take a little look at the arena. Might even try and do a little bit of the real-time PvP. But until then, I hope you all are doing well. Once again, thank you for watching. Hit the like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.